Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. We got Joe Rogan, and he's ranting about Joe Biden. He's going to be touching on election deniers, but not the election deniers that the mainstream media pushes as of recently. Not them. There were some other people who were denying the elections just a little while ago, and they did not concede right away. Then we're going to be talking about why only Biden as a choice. This is something that Joe's talking about, and his theory is really spot on. The theory that he gives is great. And then we're going to talk about Trump's newest endorsement, and it is a massive one that I never ever thought I would see. So I'm going to be showing you a Joe Rogan clip. Then I got another video of a certain lady talking. I won't let you know. You got to watch it. Then I got a couple of articles that I'm going to show you. And then a video talking about Trump's newest endorsement. Let's get right into it. Do not forget about IamCoachColin.com. We got Sold Not For Sale. We have George Orwell Was Right. And we have Public Enemy #1. Of course, discount code for whoever wants it is I am Coach Colin, all capital letters, all one word, 1 L in the name Colin. Let's get to it.
Cold. They've released this thing. For the people that have been vaccinated, you did your job. For those unvaccinated, you experience a winter, what is it, severe illness and death? You're looking towards a winter of severe illness and death? When Biden's on TV, our patience is wearing thin. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing... Hey, motherfucker, our patience is wearing thin with you? You can't even form a goddamn sentence.
Yeah.
You fucking zombie.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Your patience is wearing thin. You're not even looking at data. You're not talking about reality. You're talking to the cult.
Can I ask you, why are they so reluctant to not give us a different option there?
Because it's control. Because whenever there's anything that happens in the world, whether it's 9/11, and through 9/11 they passed the Patriot Act, and there was a devastating blow to free speech and control and just your ability to have privacy. The government had full reign to listen to all your phone calls, read all your emails, and they're doing it right now. And the NSA is doing it right now. They can listen to any time you make a phone call to someone. It's all getting recorded.
Yeah, but when we complain like Biden's a little too old, maybe can we find a different option? They're not even open to the idea of it. It's just like, no, he's the guy.
He's not in control right now, right? So if the people who are in control right now, why would they want to swap out a new person?
Deep state.
Well, for real.
Is it deep state?
Listen.
Yeah.
You could put whatever words you want, but if you don't think that these corporations that donate insane amounts of money to political campaigns have an influence on what happens in the world, you're naive. That's a silly way to think of things. Now, if you've got a guy who basically has no mind and he is your figurehead, if you can keep him alive for 4 years, you just run it the way you're running it right now.
Wow.
All you have to do is get that other guy arrested a ton of times. Just keep arresting him, keep trumping up new charges.
Yeah.
Put him out there in the fucking news every day, terrible things he's done, and he's an authoritarian, he's going to lock all the gays up. If you just say that enough, the people that are uninformed and aren't paying attention, they're going to listen. And then if you have mail-in ballots and if you have a voter machine shenanigans, if you can fucking sway things one way or another, then you stay in power. You stay in power.
So you believe...
Same person stays as the figurehead and the same people run it now.
Do you believe the election was stolen then?
No.
Okay.
I believe that there are, without a doubt, in every election, there's election fraud.
Sure.
It's like, what's the number?
Yeah.
So that's what I say. I don't know what the number is. I know Trump apparently released a whole bunch of documents showing irregularities, showing that the mail-in ballots were incorrect. The mail-in ballots is something Putin talked about recently. He said the 2020 elections were stolen and they used mail-in ballots, but who knows why he's saying
But these things happen every cycle, right? Every election, these things happen. There's irregularities.
Hillary claimed that she won.
Right.
Right.
I
mean, John Kerry claimed that he won. Al Gore claimed that he won. Remember the dangling chads?
In Florida. Yeah.
The idea
But the difference is that Al, though, went, okay, I'm going to concede and...
Sort of. Took a long time.
Okay.
You know, the Al Gore, George Bush one, how long did that go on before he conceded? I want to say it was a few months. I don't think it was as simple as just conceding.
Okay.
I think the Al Gore, George Bush one went on for quite a while, if I remember correctly, because I remember being confused. Like, wow, this never happened before.
A month or so.
A month or so,
okay.
So,
13th.
So think of that. Think of like a whole month where they're trying to decide if it's true.
Right.
It's fucking weird. And there was a documentary that HBO did back when Bush was president, during these times. Well, this was when it was okay to deny the election because it was a Republican that was in office. And there was a documentary called Hacking Democracy. And in that documentary, they were using Diebold machines. And Diebold, they also make a lot of ATM machines. They make various machines. But what they had found in this documentary was that there was the ability to have a third-party input. So first-party input is you're the voter. Second party is me, I collect the vote. Third-party input was also there. And so they used that on the documentary to change the vote. So they used it to change the numbers.
Wow.
And they showed that they can do it.
Wow.
I'll send you something, Jamie. I don't know if this is true, but someone said that someone had just done this recently. Here, I'll send you this because this is just something that someone tweeted. I don't know if it's true, but I wanted to send it to Jamie so Jamie could research it. But what this says is that in federal court in Atlanta, Georgia, computer scientist and engineering professor J. Alex Halderman was able to hack a Dominion voting tabulator in front of U.S. District Judge Amy Totenberg using only a pen to change the vote totals.
That happened this time.
Supposedly.
Wow.
Now this is a tweet from just a couple of days ago.
Wow.
Oh, it was a tweet from when was it? Anyway, I don't know if that's true, but that's crazy if it is.
Yeah.
This is actually from 2 days ago.
Wow.
This person tweeted this. Now we'll look, see if that's horseshit, and see what. But here's the thing: when you have computers, if you have a phone, like with Pegasus was the first one that. By the way, the Israelis created Pegasus, and Pegasus was a software that's what they used to get Jeff Bezos when they got his dick pics and all that shit.
Oh yeah, good ones.
Yeah, it's got a solid heart. When they did that with him, what they did was someone sent him a link in WhatsApp. I think it was the head of Saudi Arabia. Sent him a link in WhatsApp. He clicked the link, and then Pegasus was downloaded on his phone. Now, you don't even have to click a link anymore. Now, they can get Pegasus on your phone. All they need is your phone number.
I could have Pegasus now?
They probably do. You probably do.
You have it?
I'm sure.
Oh, no. How can we detect it? Is there an app?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think, according to Gavin DeBecker, who's a securities expert, these things are constantly evolving, and they get better all the time. They don't tell you when they're better.
Yeah.
They just have better technology.
Yeah.
But he's aware of Pegasus too. And he said with Pegasus too, all they need is your phone number.
Yeah. But Joe, can I ask you something?
Mm-hmm.
What? Can't you just shut it off and not? I mean, there's so many people in this country just walk around and they just don't. All these things that we're talking about right now, they don't think about it. They just live their lives. Don't you think that that's a happier life or no?
It depends on whether or not your voice actually matters. So if you can change the way people think and you can change the way people look at things, and then those people vote in such mass numbers that you can't make stealing the vote possible. Because enough people realize it's horseshit to the point where the overwhelming majority, you would have to like have fraud that's so apparent that no one would buy into it. It'd be a national scandal.
We need whistleblowers.
We have them. We put them in jail. And look at Edward Snowden. He has to live in Russia now. Look at Julian Assange. She's fucked.
Yeah.
They've been prosecuting that guy forever. And if you ask what the crime is, it's nothing.
Yeah.
He's a journalist.
I just feel so stressed out right now.
You should.
Why?
Because that's the reality that we live in.
It's stressing me out.
That's the reality that we live in. We live in a very dangerous, complicated world.
Yeah.
Halderman, a University of Michigan computer scientist, changed results of a hypothetical referendum on Sunday alcohol sales. He flipped a winner in a theoretical election between President George Washington and Benedict Arnold, the Revolutionary War general who defected to the British. He rigged the machine to print out as many ballots as he wanted.
Wow.
All he needed, was a pen to reach a button inside the touchscreen, a fake $10 voter card that he had programmed, or a $100 USB device that he plugged into a cord connected to a printer, rewriting the touchscreen's code. Halderman delivered his presentation during an election security trial evaluating whether Georgia's voting system is vulnerable to manipulation or programming errors. All in-person voters in Georgia make their choices on touchscreens that print out paper ballots. Now, I believe Georgia was supposed to update their machines. And then there was a talk of when they were going to do it, and I think it's also taken into consideration other than just corruption. It might also be a budget issue.
The headline says election officials say these vulnerabilities are
merely speculative. Oh, merely speculative. It's safe and effective. Our election is safe and effective.
Yeah.
These people dropping dead.
Yeah.
40% increase in all-cause mortalities.
Yeah.
Ages 18 to 34. It's nothing to concern yourself with. That's normal.
Yeah. But
It's merely speculative.
Yeah.
Probably. These people all have your best interest in mind.
Is that a cigar?
These are little baby cigars.
Can I have one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You're okay with nicotine cigars?
Yeah, I'm not going to inhale it.
You want a real cigar, a big one?
No, the little ones.
You want like a real cigar?
I like them.
Yeah, why don't you have one of these?
Is Cuban?
Yeah. No, these are they're from Nicaragua. These are JRE cigars.
Oh, fuck.
They're actually really good.
Yeah.
Here, I'll open it for you. This is what I think, man.
Okay.
I think evil's real. And I think evil exists in many forms, and it exists in callous disregard for loss of life for profit. That's evil, right? And that's a real thing. Like, you could say evil is the devil. Here's a little lighter here, buddy. You could say evil is Satan, and evil is demons, and evil is, exorcisms and shit. There you go. Look at that, baby. But also, evil is profit over human life, which is real. Evil is cobalt mines in the Congo. When you watch pregnant women mining for cobalt and getting toxic fumes in their lungs, some of them have babies on their back. That's evil. That's evil. They're living in dirt floors with no sanitation. It's horrific conditions, and that is in everybody's cell phone. And everyone's cell phone is the labor of essentially people so poor they don't have to choose whether they're slaves or not. They just there's no other option for them to work.
But there's a powerlessness that one feels. Like, what is little Bobby Lee going to do about any of this? So it's like a lot of times I'm just like, everything that you said, I'm with you, but I'm just saying that, like, it stresses me out.
It should.
Yeah, and I want to walk around a little bit more free, and
Hey, you deserve that.
Yeah.
You're a comedian, man. You provide laughter and you help people. And if it's fucking you up, knowing about all this shit that's happening in the world, that can get in the way of your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, it's not an obligation to pay attention to everything.
Okay.
But it is something that I think would help people break out of the cult. Because that cult, it's like you think you're a good person if you buy hook, line, and sinker everything that the left says. That's crazy. These are the same people that want war. These are the same people that are encouraging censorship. These are the same people that are trying to silence dissent. That's all totalitarian shit. And just because it's done for trans kids or for Black Lives Matter or for any social cause that you think is like undeniably worthy, it's still the same thing at the end of the day. The Patriot Act still controlled people in a way that was never allowed before. And it did it under the guise that we have to stop a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
So even if they don't do evil shit to make these things happen, once these things happen, they take advantage by doing evil shit. And they enact control over the people that they never had before. And that's what they did during COVID. And the redistribution of wealth was insane.
Yeah.
The redistribution of wealth to big corporations
like
and companies.
Gates profited that.
Oh
big.
my God, so many people did. Billions of dollars was moved.
Yeah.
Bobby is stressed out. Bobby wasn't ready for that type of talk. Bobby's a slapstick comedian having a good time, making funny voices. He wasn't ready for all that. I don't know why Joe does that to certain people, but I guess you have to, because you can't be so uninformed. You gotta have, you have to be informed. Bobby was asking, like, isn't it better to just like not know about all this or not think about it? It's like, you can't have that. Here's another thing towards what they just said at the end. It's too, when they take advantage of things, when evil stuff does happen, like that's what Joe was saying, evil stuff happens. And when it does, they take advantage of it. It's a little too quick, a little too on the nose when something happens and then they take advantage of it. Like, if it was spur of the moment, like, oh, it's time to take advantage of something, it would be a little off. But when it's time to take advantage of something, it's like they already have something ready. They're like, here you go. And you're like, that must have took a while to, you couldn't have wrote that up in just a few hours? You didn't just, oh, yeah, we did. It was really fast. No. You had that prepared for months. You could just tell by the way things happen. I don't know. We're not going to get that deep into it, but I don't know. I don't buy the whole when evil things happen, they just take advantage of it. Now, that is true. You do have to take advantage of a crisis. But once you have the knowledge of taking advantage of a crisis, the next logical step, especially if you're those kind of people, would be to make crisis. That's just what you would do. You'd be like, well, what else could we do? Like, what if this crisis happened? Well, then we do this. Okay. Well, can we make that happen? Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. How much money? 100 billion. 100 billion? Well, there's 10 of us in this room. I guess we'll all make $10 billion. It's like, yeah, of course. If you can do that, you're going to do it. But yeah, like going back to what Bobby was saying, you have to be informed. I'm going to show you some other clips in a second because, they always paint it like Trump was the only election denier ever in history. And Joe brought up some really solid points. Al Gore, Hillary Clinton. Let's play a Hillary Clinton clip. I didn't want to tell you guys at the beginning, but that's who it is. We're playing a little bit of Hillary. Why not? But just to say one more time, it's not better to be informed. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss until you walk down the line far enough and you realize, oh, I'm walking into a slaughterhouse. Ignorance is bliss to a point, up until a point. But you get to a certain point and now ignorance becomes terrifying. And the one thing you're going to wish is that you knew more before you got into that terrifying situation. So never just go under the guise of, just ignorance is bliss. Better if I just don't know. It's just not true. Putin actually did say this, and I have no idea why he's saying this. And here's the thing. As much as you may want to see what he's saying right now and clap along and be like, this guy gets it, this guy also wants the destruction of the U.S. And for all we know, Yuri Bezmenov was actually correct, and he actually did put something into play about 30, 40 years ago that's actually aiding the destruction of the greatest superpower ever to exist. That might be happening right now. When I see Putin saying something cool and people are like, "Oh, that Putin, man, he's not the bad guy." It's like, yeah, he is. Maybe he's just not as bad as they're saying. Maybe he's not as bad as what they make him out to be, but he's still the bad guy to the way of life in North America. Like, don't be confused about that. He's not coming in trying to bring liberty and justice for everybody. That's not what some people actually believe that. Get your head on right. All right, let's play Hillary Clinton. Let's go.
And apparently still not over her 2016 defeat to President Trump. She's now claiming the election was stolen from her. Watch this.
I think it's also critical to understand that, as I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
So, Brian, I think this is a situation where you look at Hillary Clinton and she's saying, you know what, we really have to be sure that we win by a compelling amount. Actually, Nancy Pelosi picks up on this. I'll show you that in a second. Because she's not sure that Donald Trump would peacefully leave office.
Which is ridiculous. I mean, her point of being so, she's just not self-aware. And one thing, Juan, I think there's nothing better than somebody who admits to when they lose and they say, this is where I blew it. And the popular vote doesn't mean anything because that's not how we judge it. We got to win states. I didn't win enough states. I lost 30 states to Donald Trump. That's my problem. Instead, she goes, I win the popular vote and it was taken from me by the Russians. And it makes me really appreciate Al Gore. Al Gore could have said all the time, the governor of Florida was Jeb Bush. I barely lost to George Bush by 500 votes. Man, if I only did a whole state election, it would have been different. He could have made a ton of money speaking across the country. Instead, he did what Jesse would have done, grew a beard and taught at Columbia. And that I really respect.
And made millions of dollars.
But instead of saying, hey, here's the problem. I made a big mistake, private server. I made a big mistake. I let Uma Abedin go on the laptop of Anthony Weiner. I made a big mistake. John Podesta let a naked email server out there, allowed people to hack into it. That's where I dropped the ball.
A naked server, interesting.
Yeah.
John Podesta, naked server. There's a lot of jokes I can make right there. There's a whole bunch. But yeah, Hillary Clinton, she was denying the election. And it's funny that they bring up Al Gore. I don't know if he was being, if he was joking, if he was being sarcastic, but Al Gore didn't just concede right away. That's not what happened. It's funny too, because a lot of articles say things like that. Al Gore was a man about his election loss, unlike Trump. Like, that's not actually true. First of all, he's making everybody pay for it by becoming this climate change expert that's constantly telling us about how we're all going to die. Okay, so that's the one thing he keeps doing to us no matter what. And that's been like 20-something years now he's been doing that. But then I found another counter article. Al Gore wasn't a man about losing. And he wasn't. Let me just read this really quick. Federal Senior Judge District Judge Reggie Walton contends Al Gore, unlike Donald Trump, was a man and walked away from his 2000 presidential election after losing. That's not how I remember it. I remember Al Gore setting a destructive precedent. He's the one that set this precedent, attacking the integrity of the system and then dragging the country through an unnecessary divisive legal battle. Gore walked away only after the Supreme Court deprived him of any legal path to claim Florida. So that's what he actually did. People are just remembering it different, So Trump is just he's not the first person to be like, hey, I don't think I lost. It's I just find it very funny that we kind of go along with that. Here's another thing I want to say. I'm going to play this clip in a second, but when it comes to what Bobby Lee said about Biden, I found it very interesting because I don't often talk about the left-leaning perspective on this show, but I wanted to think about that for a second, because think about how left-leaning people must view what they're being handed. In some places, Biden's the only person that they can vote for. Like, it's very interesting. I never thought, like, what does a left-leaning person who's not interested in Trump, who's not interested in Nikki Haley, what do they get? They just get Biden, and that's it. They have no other choices. I wonder how that makes a lot of them feel, because they can't all just be like, this guy's the greatest ever. Things are so great. I love paying this much for gas. I like not having that much food in the fridge. Clutters up my fridge. It's a bit much for me. I like sauce. I like sauce and eggs. And, and the eggs are a little expensive, but it's fine. I mean, some weeks it's gas and some weeks it's eggs, but that's fine by me. I like Joe Biden. Like, nobody's like, Kamala Harris is so intelligent. So intelligent. This is the best. I've never had a greater time with my vote, my choices. I've never been so happy. It can't be. Not everybody. I'm sure there's some people that feel that way, but there has to be other people who are like, I really wish I could vote for someone else because this is not fair. And then what do? Do they move over to RFK Jr.? Maybe. But I mean, if they're following anything that the mainstream media has to say, well, then they think that guy's a conspiracy theorist. If you watch the mainstream media, you think he's a conspiracy theorist, or you're not even presented with him. You might even think that he's not even running anymore if you watch the mainstream media only. So what do they turn to? They're not going to just jump over to Trump, although some have already. You might jump over to Nikki Haley, I guess. You get that inclusivity, like, that's a lady. And then you figure out she's brown too, and you're like, whoa, fantastic. Wow. She's my Obama. And she's my Obama. This is great. Maybe. I don't know. But I wonder what do they feel about that? How do they feel about that? Let's play this quick Hillary Clinton clip, and then we're going to go on to Trump's big endorsements.
And I needed about 18 points in order to be sure I could win Pennsylvania. I watched how analysts, who I have a great deal of respect for, like Nate Silver, burrowed into all the data and said, but for that Comey letter, she would have won. So it was very personal to me. I think my general election prospects were so badly damaged because of that even though I was starting to come back, it was not enough time to overcome it. But even though that was the primary blow to my campaign at the very end, it has to be looked at in context with the Russians weaponizing information, negative stories about me, this whole WikiLeaks beginning to leak in early October of John Podesta's emails, which if you've read them all, they're pretty anodyne, but they were taken out of context. The stories were made up about them. We now know Facebook was taking money from Russian companies to run negative stories about me. If you look at all of this,
she's like, anything that negative that came up, it must have been Russians because the people love me. She's like, I went on to a black publication with a bottle of hot sauce in a purse that I never use. I mean, this thing was a lock. That's a real thing, by the way. I'm not making that up. She really did that. And then the host said, are you trying to pander to the black vote? And then she went, is it working? What? You're not president. It's done. You're never going to be president. That's how you do it? Don't get me wrong. Every president, every candidate panders to audiences and demographics. But if you're going to do it with hot sauce and then go, is it working? With the shoulder shimmy? Get out of here. Absolutely ridiculous. And then she just blames it all on Russians and WikiLeaks. Well, if it wasn't for the WikiLeaks leaking, you mean if it wasn't for journalism? Oh, no. If it wasn't for that dang gung journalism, we would be fine right now. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, let's move on. Who is the big endorsement for Trump? Now, when I see a lot of black people endorsing Trump, I go, great, good. That guy's waking up. This guy, This guy, though, this guy might sway quite a bit of people because, I mean, sad as it is to say, a lot of black people are swayed by celebrity. Sorry, you are. My apologies. If you're just listening to this, might sound racist, but I'm black. Trust me. Just go on YouTube and see my face. You can trust me. But a lot of black people are swayed by celebrity, and this is one of the biggest celebrities in the world. Let's get to it.
Snoop Dogg's squashing his years-long beef with Donald Trump. In the past, the rap star has been straight up nasty to the former president and his supporters. And at one point, Snoop pointed a fake gun at a clown version of Trump for one of his music videos. But Snoop's now taking the high road. The rapper jumping on the Trump train after the former president tossed a pardon to one of the dog father's friends, saying, quote, "I have nothing but love and respect for Donald Trump." All right, Jessica, I see you, Taylor Swift, and I raise you, Snoop.
Honestly, I don't know what we're going to do when Donald Trump wins the black vote because of this.
Greg, your thoughts on the Snoop endorsement? How significant is this?
But
That's it. I got nothing but love and respect. Once you see that, that's a beacon to the rest of the black people all through America. There are so many guys right now that are just going to be like, yo, Snoop said. That's it. I mean, Snoop said smoke weed, and all of us just smoked weed until we were in oblivion and just in debt and like didn't work any of our aspirations or dreams. Like Snoop has real power. So this is going to be a really good thing for Donald Trump. Very surprising because Snoop Dogg has expressed really not liking Donald Trump. But here's the thing. At a certain point, it becomes undeniable. Because what else is Snoop going to say? I back Biden. I love what's going on right now. There's too many people, his demographic, obviously Snoop has transcended, he's become iconic, but his foundational base is people in the hood. You know, he still claims to connect to people in the hood. So how are you going to say Biden? They're all like, no, we're hurting tremendously. You can't, Joe Biden? Is there another one? Not Hunter. Which one are you talking about? Obviously, they're not going to support that, so he has to say Donald Trump. Who else could he say? Imagine Snoop saying, I got Nikki Haley, got nothing but love and respect. It's Donald Trump, man. Come on. So funny. And just my last point, huge for Trump, going back to being informed, an informed person. We're getting to a point where people make fun of people who are informed. Right? Because being informed was doing your own research, and that became demonized. I was even in the comment section recently, and somebody was making fun of the fact that I read a bunch of Substacks and I listen to people who I don't agree with, and I'll listen to like left-leaning people, right-leaning people who claim they're in the center, even like MSNBC at times. I'll be like, what's their read on this whole thing? All sorts of stuff. And this person's like making fun of that. I'm telling you guys, be as informed as you can. Yes, there's a stress to it, but there's also a stress to not knowing what's going on. Right? Think about that. There's a stress to knowing exactly what's going on. There really is. But there's also a tremendous stress from not knowing what the hell is happening in the world. So be as informed as you can at all times, please. And I hope I helped with that a little bit with this video. Other than that, I'm out. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Peace.